There are a lot of papers involved in this morning's program, and I think I lost my sermon, my message. So let's say, okay. I did. Let's just see if I, okay, maybe here. Found him. Thank you, Emma. So, here we are this morning in celebration of mothers. I believe it was in 1980 when George Landis, Amwell's pastor at the time, asked me if I would speak on Mother's Day. And I didn't know how to say no to him. So, though scared to death, I obliged his request. Since that time, do the math, approximately 44 years, that I have continued that tradition. I think I missed maybe 2 to 3 times. So, you'll bear with me. Though we have many individual moms to honor today, I always remain mindful of the variations that come along with the theme of motherhood. For many people, it's a very hard day for a million different reasons. There are those that are grieving the recent loss of their mom. There are mothers struggling with the problems their children face. In the book of Genesis, we read that Eve had a very difficult role as the mother of her sons, Cain and Abel. Many women in the Bible suffered because many women in the Bible suffered because they couldn't even become mothers. And Mary, Jesus' mother, though intimately involved in God's plan, that was the wonder of wonders, she had to see the suffering of her beloved Son ultimately placed upon a cross and crucified. If we know anyone who might be suffering today, they could use our prayers, understanding, and support. As we turn to our celebration of this day, I'd like to begin with a tribute to my own mother, Sylve Andreessen Fitzgerald. I wanted to remember something from my life with her on Mother's Day. I don't know if you heard this before, 44 years, I try to talk about her every Mother's Day, but she was a person who would pick up strays, not cats or dogs, but people. For example, all of a sudden, a stranger would appear in our home, introduced only as a person she had met on the subway. Being a Brooklynite, we used the subway a lot. And or someone else who was elderly and lived alone became a guest at our holiday family dinner. And among ourselves, there was 5 of us, children in my family. We would make comments like, who is this person? Where did they come from? It was a behavior of my mother's that I probably wouldn't recommend repeating today, except to say that it did give evidence of her caring heart for people and a willingness to reach out and demonstrate her kindness and love as the Lord instructs us all to do. She lived her Christian life in ways we could see, and as Proverbs 31:28a says, her children arise and call her blessed. Next tribute I'd like to make this morning is to my mother-in-law, Anne. I met her when I was 16 years old, and she remained in my life until this past February, just about 58 years. Those of you who attend her memorial service next week will hear much more about her life from many different perspectives. But the descriptive words I would use for Anne would include, she was a take-charge, activist kind of person. Someone who was always ready to take up the challenge. When difficulty or trouble came knocking and calling, she got to work. And a very hard worker she was. Still quite active in her 90s and 100s, She proved that again and again. She had an extremely strong family orientation. I was always amazed how important it was in her family to get together with the uncles and the cousins and the different relations. And if she was your friend, she was a very devoted and loyal friend. She was an excellent cook. And she taught me how to make a lot of her recipes. I can make a mean gravy and other things that she taught me to do, cooking for an Italian husband. Her children went to church and learned about God and the Bible, and we have some evidence of that faith and training right here at Amwell. Next, I'd like to pay a little tribute to Katie, Miss Katie, and Robert, Timmy's wife. Among the many women who already became and will become new mothers this year, such as our congregation's Jen, our family was so blessed when Ms. Katie DeSalvio gave birth to Robert James on January 17th. It's really hard to express adequately the joy they have both brought to us all. Actually, I would say we're over the moon. No matter what Robert does so far, I'm impressed. He's learned to eat and sleep. He cries. And he's been working on wiggling his toes, stretching out his fingers, sticking out his tongue, and attempting to coo and talk. He is an additional wonderful star added to the 3 precious granddaughters God has already given to us. And we are so thankful. Motherhood is associated with the creation of life, and if nothing else, each of us owe a debt of gratitude to our mothers for the life we have. But a crucial aspect of life-giving is Creator God, the ultimate life-giver who started it all and sustains our lives and promises eternal life with Him. In the May 2nd lesson of our Daily Bread devotional, Monica LaRose wrote about, quote, a creator we can trust. If you'll forgive me, she shared some thoughts about the monster Frankenstein, written by Mary Shelley. Kind of well-known, famous piece of literature. I don't know if any of you ever saw the movie. Quote, but close readers of the beloved novel know that a strong case can be made that Shelley actually portrays Victor Frankenstein, the delusional scientist who created the creature, as the real monster. After creating an intelligent creature, Victor denies him any guidance, companionship, or hope of happiness, seemingly guaranteeing the creature's descent into desperation and rage. Confronting Victor, the creature laments, you, my creator, would tear me to pieces and triumph. This picture is so starkly contrasted with how differently the true creator of all things is with his beloved creation. Ms. LaRose writes that God didn't create on a whim. Reading from Genesis 1:31, it says, God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Did any of you have to remind him to bring up the sun this morning? Did you have to check any instruments to make sure the earth was still rotating on its axis? Of course not. He is faithful to his creation, which includes us. His creation was purposeful and filled with love, and when things went really wrong, what did he do? He made a way. And this way was reflected in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Think about it. Could you do it? If I think of sacrificing any one of my children, I cringe. And yet our loving Creator was so committed to his creation that when Adam and Eve disobeyed in the garden, he did the unthinkable so that our sin could be forgiven and we could be reconciled to him. If you know this Creator this morning, no matter who you are, mother, father, son, daughter, you have a lot to celebrate. Like so many of our mothers, God the Father will not leave nor quit on us. He's in for the long haul, whatever it takes. If you don't know his Son as your Lord and Savior, you can straighten that out today. Just confess you are a sinner and invite him to come into your heart, mind, and soul. The Bible says he'll do it, and you will never be the same. And that's my Mother's Day message to you this morning. And I pray that God blesses it. And now that he will bless the next portion of our service this morning, where we're going to honor Amwell's mothers in their 90s. Tuesday morning group meets, and this past week I was looking for ideas, and I didn't realize that we had 4 mothers in their 90s in the Amwell congregation. So we want to honor you this morning. I'm going to start out with the youngest. Her name is Shirley Cascarno. She was born on February 21st, 1934. She just turned 90 this year. She's a young 90. Her children are Jeff and Mark. Her grandchildren are Ryan, Scott, and Brant. And she has 7 grandchildren. One distinguishing feature about Miss Shirley: she's one of my unsung heroes. I think it was about 2 years ago, that was the title of my message, Unsung Heroes. To me and many others, she has exemplified a life of love, sacrifice, and dedication to Jesus. Amen. I thank you for that example. Second mother, next oldest, Gracie Affleck. She's not here this morning, but Scott was kind enough to share some facts about his mom. She was born on October 8th, 1930, and she is 93. Right, Scott? She's 93. She was married to Chris Affleck. She had 3 sons. We know one of them, but the oldest son was Alan, then came Steve, and then Scott. She has 3 grandchildren, and her distinguishing feature is that she stays up late at night, which not every 93-year-old can do. I'm having a trouble with it myself. And next, we have Ms. Rose Johnson. She was born May 15th. I didn't do the math. I don't know her year, but I know she will be 97 on May 15th. We sang to you this morning, Rose. Happy birthday. Rose Johnson married Lawrence 75 years ago this September. Marie shared with me, your daughter Marie. She and Larry had 4 children. I don't know all their names. I know Ginny and Marie. I don't know the other names. Do you remember?
Nancy and Alan.
Okay, great. Nancy and Alan. Marie gave the count as 15 grandchildren and 21 great-grandchildren and counting. Congratulations. And our most distinguishing feature. We wanted to do that for each of our honorees. You love music, we heard. And when the youth group came caroling to her home this past Christmas, she really loved it. And we did too. And last, only because she's oldest in the 90s, Sue Pierman is going to come and share a little bit about her mom. Tricks and tricks.
I'm going a little bit further than our other moms, only because I know my mom, and I know what she's done, and I know some stuff about her. Doris Edna Pierce Snyder was born on April 3rd, 1926, on the family farm in Rayville, New Jersey, to Almeda and Earl Pierce. She was born at home, and she was born in the same bedroom in the house as her father was. Got some history there in the house. She's an only child. She was born with a cord wrapped around her neck, and I guess it was a little bit of a tough time, which scared my grandfather to death, and she remained an only child. She did have a close cousin, Shirley, that was like a sister to her. They grew up and I'm sure got into some trouble together. I heard one story about possibly almost burning the barn down because we were smoking. She grew up on the farm. Right next door was the one-room schoolhouse, which she attended through 8th grade, and then attended Flemington High School and graduated in 1943. She worked at a small country store in Rayville, Mrs. Kennedy's store, which a lot of us from that area remember. She wasn't sure why a local boy started coming in so much to buy things by the name of Dennis Snyder, who then asked her out, and they were married in 1950. Mom, if there's any of this wrong, tell me. Okay. When they were married, she was ready to move to the Snyder farm, but instead, my dad moved to the Pierce farm, and so she never left home. In 1957, a daughter was born to them by the name of Susan. And in 1964, a son was born to them by the name of David, which my brother is here today. Through the years, she helped on the farm. Now, we lived in a double house, so my grandparents were in one side, her parents were in one side, and we lived in the other side. So she helped on the farm, the garden, the canning, the freezing of the produce from the garden, bottle-fed animals that needed to be taken care of, and just all the different miscellaneous things that go on a farm. We attended the Rayville Presbyterian Church, where she taught Sunday school and helped with church dinners, which you can ask her all about how to pat oysters. And she made sure that we attended Sunday school. Growing up and into her later years, and even still today, she had suffered with depression and anxiety. And she had several courses of electric shock therapy to pull her out of it, which it did, and she continues on. Farm life continues on through her life. There are losses, deaths of her parents, and just the normal things in life that goes on. There was also marriages, and grandkids started arriving. She has 6 grandchildren and 12 great-grandchildren to date. In 2009, Dennis, my dad, passed away, and she cared for him to the end, which was not an easy job at times. She's never given up on anything. She continues to garden, to crochet, to cook. She has made each one of us kids and grandkids Afghans, which we treasure. Sometimes we have more than one. She still cooks for herself. She lives alone and takes care of herself, takes care of all her bills, takes care of the grocery shopping, takes care of everything. She loves her word search puzzles. She loves Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. She loves card games with her friends and going out to eat with them. I wrote some side things, which okay. Okay. The one, now Jean was saying some, the thing that stands out at most about these people. For my mom, I think the word would be giving. She is always giving. You don't leave her house without her giving you something. No matter how much you protest that you don't need it, you leave with something. Whether it's her zucchini bread, cookies, jams, jellies, flower bouquets. Every week, although I tell her to stop, I come home from grocery shopping with a large Mr. Goodbar candy bar. Though she watches her sugar, she's not watching mine. Even though she's had health problems and she's dealing with a couple new health problems at the moment, she's facing them head on, and she has people still saying to her today, there is no way you're 98. But she is. We love you, Mom. Thank you for all you've given me and Dave and our family, and we love you.
I know of one apple that didn't fall very far from the tree. Thank you. Thank you all. All right. Every year we've been spoiled. I know why you're so good at growing things. There's a good reason why. We have Miss Susan. She, at the end of Mother's Day, every year she presents flowers to us, and it's very appreciated. And I think that we're going to present one to, should we start with the youngest this year? I think I know who it could be. Jen, I don't know if you're willing to say your age. Sometimes you have to prove it around here. I don't mean prove it, say how old you are, because we might not know what the 90s unless we learned.
I'm 35.
Oh, she takes it. I can't say it. Are you above or below? Part? Above. Okay. Anybody younger than 35? A mother here? If Miss Katie was here, she wouldn't get that flower. She's older than Jen. Let's give her a hand. Brand new. A brand new mom. Congratulations. And your baby's been so quiet, that little girl. For every time I've heard her here.
She's eating.
Oh, she's eating. Okay. That helps. Eating. Okay. I don't know if anybody wants to challenge Miss Doris for the oldest. Anybody here older than 98?
They can try, but...
Okay. Well, we want to present the flower to the oldest mother here, Doris Snyder. Congratulations to both of you and to all of the mothers here. I don't know if there's anything...
No, just for you.
Oh.
Just for you for pulling it all together for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful yellow. Wow.
And flowers for everybody.
Yeah. You see these extra flowers up here? They're for every mother. Is it every mother, every woman?
All women.
Yes, because you're either a mother or a daughter today, so you're kind of in this celebration. All right? So before you leave today, you can take that. I'm going to head over to the keyboard so that we can sing the closing hymn. And again, thank you. Thank you. Mothers, you heard the saying, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. You mothers rock, and God bless you today.